made it to the end. Fantastic. I had a really good idea for how to start this, but I've forgotten it now. Okay. My basic job here is a whole host of thank yous. But before we get into that, we'll announce the prize for the best poster. I actually had no idea what posters were in this context before we started organising this, and it was explained to me, and I'm like, But I'm actually blown away by the stuff that we've got outside, and I think it's a great idea, and I'm sure we'll repeat this. So, without further ado, the one that most people thought was the best is the one all about the MPN Research Coalition. Okay, and we believe this was prepared by MPN Research Foundation. I've just had that confirmed. So, Bill, would you like to accept it on the behalf of MPN Research Foundation? Thank you. Well done. Well done. Oh, Bill, you need to have your photo taken.
On Twitter and website.
Well done, Bill. Fabulous. Okay, that's good. So the thank yous then. Let's start with the sponsors. We know perfectly well, I mean, you can see all around you that this is a massive undertaking. It costs quite a bit of money to put on an event like this, to get you all here, to feed you, to arrange dancing in front of you, to...
Not from the sponsor.
Okay, fine. But you appreciate the massive undertaking and financial commitment that this takes. And without our sponsors, obviously, it couldn't happen. Novartis are our platinum sponsors. Thank you very much. Gilead and Insight, Baxalta Shire, CTI, and the LLS from the US. Thank you very, very much on the behalf of the whole steering committee. Mentioning the steering committee, here we are. I personally like to extend my thanks to all of you. You've heard me say this a few times now. 4 years ago, this was an idea in the minds of a few people. I'm glad Peter's sitting right here next to me. He was one of those people. He's pretty much the only one of those people kind of left active within this organization. But the people who've come on board subsequently have really, really made this happen. And without them, it would still just be an idea in me and Peter's minds. So I'd like to thank every one of the steering committee. But before you express that thanks, I'd just like to pick out two people. Cheryl Petruk from Canada has done an amazing amount of work behind the scenes to kind of actually make this happen. She's organized a Skype call for us every month, and all sorts of other kind of administrative things that, seemingly aren't that important, but actually make it all work. So I'd like to thank Cheryl. There she is, right there. And the guy sitting next to Cheryl, Giora has done this quite a few times. And when I came in on was it Thursday evening, particularly on Friday morning, I realized how good he is at doing this stuff. This has been an amazing event. Literally every single thing about it has been fantastic. And it's his experience, his energy, his commitment to doing this. And he wasn't even involved with us from the very beginning. So he's come on board and he's really, really made a truly incredible event. So I'd like to thank him especially. Thank you. Right, we're on to the second page of thank yous. So I'm just checking. No, they've all gone home already. The expert clinicians who've in my view, I think when most of you got the invitation to come to this event, you may well have been interested in the general idea, but I suspect a lot of you really came to hear from the world-class physicians that we managed to bring to the event, and that will continue to be a key thing that we do, and a key activity that we do for the network. So Ruben, Claire, Nicholas, Carlos, and actually especially Yvonne. I think she did a really amazing presentation. I don't know how many of you realized, but she was incredibly nervous. It's not something that she does for a living. The rest of them, they kind of do this all the time with thousands of people. Yvonne was amazingly nervous, and for me, it was one of the best presentations that we had for the whole weekend. So I really do appreciate, even though they're not here with us now, I really do appreciate the effort and the energy that they put into coming to speak to us. Giora's organization, LAPAF, I think was a visionary organization that was created at about the same time that he created CML Advocates with Jan. And I think the fact that they had the idea to create an umbrella organization for groups like ours was again an enabling factor. So I'm really glad that you made that decision and that it's actually coming into fruition now. Before this event, it really only was CML Advocates within that umbrella. And I imagine there must have been times over the past few years when they're thinking, what's this kind of all about, this umbrella organization? And I'm really glad that we've now been able to exploit the vision that they had several years ago. And then lastly, to the guys who actually got us on the right planes and organized all the logistics. So the Liberty, I can't remember the name of the actual company, but Liberty basically.
International with Natasha.
And I think they've done a great job so far. Fingers crossed we'll all get home. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the thank yous. Go ahead, Peter.
As John mentioned, we were 4 or 5 people when we started this idea 4 years ago. And many things happened when in between. And I think it was thanks to the insistence of John that this whole thing didn't die, because at the moments he was really alone. I had to leave due to some personal reasons, and I came back then, but he really managed really on his own, that this whole project didn't die. And so first of all, thank you to you for standing up alone, and especially for all what you organized here. You had a very big part of the organization. I think you have been speaking more than anybody else in different places.
Yeah, you've all heard it well enough from me, haven't you?
Yeah. But, he is very, very important in our organization. I wanted to thank him for all the efforts which he has put in here, because I know he has a very time-limited. He doesn't have very much time to organize it, but he did an absolutely fantastic job. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you very much. You're making me blush. So I put up a slide on Friday morning about what the goals for this weekend were. So the first one was to become a global network. I think we achieved that, don't you? Okay. But specifically, we do really need those forms filled in to become actual members of the network. So if you haven't done so already, could you please either give them to Cheryl or give them to the hospitality guys, and we'll collect them in. Make sure we've got your contact details, because it's only when we actually have contact with you on a day-to-day basis that we have a working network. So I'd really like to reinforce that. The next one was sharing best practice. I think we did a pretty good job of that as well, didn't we? Our session yesterday I thought was incredible. The way we were able to, to tell each other what we were doing, what worked, what was great, what wasn't working, blah, blah, blah. Fantastic. That was my first vision for when I got involved in this. I thought to myself, I'd love to know what people are doing for their patients in their countries. And yesterday I began to find out, and it's very, very inspiring. I think we did a great job on that one as well. We wanted to discuss priorities, and that's what we finished up with last night. Okay, and specifically, we had a quick meeting of our steering committee this morning over breakfast. We agreed that the next steps will be a couple of very, very easy practical things that we're now committing to you to get involved in. Okay, we need to assess our patients' needs. We, as advocates, we should not just go off and do stuff on the assumption that that's what our patients want and need. Okay, so the first thing that we want to put into place is some kind of survey that will be common across the whole of the MPN community. So that's the first thing that you'll be hearing from us after the conference closes over the next weeks and months. And secondly, the ability for us to share our capabilities and our experience. And again, we can provide the platform for that. It'll be down to you guys to feed into that, but we'll be explaining to you a very, very simple and easy mechanism for you to do that. Our website can be the hub for that, and it's our commitment to you guys that we will make that happen. We will provide that facility for you all. And my vision for this over the coming months and years is that this will become the mechanism, apart from the events like this that we are going to continue to organize, apart from the events, the permanent repository of our network will become that hub of knowledge and expertise. And I think that will be the most practical and useful thing for you guys as you go on and do the incredible work that you do on the behalf of your patients. I think that's pretty much all I had in my little notebook here. At least from me, I don't know if anybody else on the committee would like to say anything, but from me, that's pretty much it. I think it's been an incredible event. I'm so, so glad that it happened. I'm so, so thankful that you all came and shared. And yeah, actually, there's one last thing I've forgotten that I wanted to say. After the last session last night, when we were all talking about best practice and stuff like that, and the meeting came to a close, and I was kind of standing here wondering what I'm going to do, and thinking about going up and phoning my wife and all sorts of things, and I was just standing here looking out over the room, and there were conversations going on between groups of people who a few days ago had never met each other. And you were having conversations, and I pretty much know you may well have been talking about where the hell is Giora going to be taking us later this evening. You may well have been talking about that. But I suspect you were probably talking about things that you could do together, things that you could share, ideas. And that was the moment when I realized we'd done a great thing. Thank you.
I can feel the excitement in the voice of John. I mean, I know him for maybe 2 years now, and we've been trying to put this together for a couple of years now, and I'm really so happy it really worked out as we planned, all of us together. For me, the feeling is like having a wedding of one of my children. You plan for 6 months, every detail, every small detail, every plan, everything, and then 4 or 5 hours and it's finished.
Do you get Novartis to sponsor your kids' weddings?
That's a good idea. I never thought about it. But anyway, I'm really, really glad that, and I'm feeling that we had a very inspiring meeting, and it's really a first step in a long road, which is a win-win situation for everybody, I think, and it's important to have this global network. The CML Advocate Network has been existing for quite many years, and with a lot of success. And for those of you who are also members of the CML Advocate Network, you can save the date of May 26, 28. We'll have the CML Horizon in Frankfurt. I'm flying from here to Frankfurt to sign the contract with the hotel over there. So that's the next mission, starting to plan that. But most importantly, what I want just as a housekeeping note, you all received a feedback form. And the feedback form is extremely important for us because we learn from you what went well, what you liked and what you didn't like, and what you think can be done differently next time. What are the topics that you would like to see discussed? We mentioned alternative medication, alternative treatments. So any topic you think is important to be included in the next MPN Horizons, please write them down, hand them over to the hospitality desk. We'll do the analysis. The steering committee will meet in a few months, starting to plan the next MPN Horizon. We met this morning, as John said, and we think that it's extremely important to keep this as an annual event, because CML Horizons was the cornerstone to build the network. We started with a small group of 15 patient organizations, and within few years we are now more than 110. And here we're starting with more than 30 organizations, so we have a very good potential to grow to larger number. And your help will also be needed, because there are still many countries where there are no MPN support for patients. And if you can find, or you can support, or you can identify patients in those countries who are not here, where they don't have MPN patient organization, please send the link to us, send to John, send to me, and we'll do our best to support them and to connect them and to make sure that they can start an organization that will support MPN patients in their country. So from my perspective, thank you very much. It was great meeting you all, and we look forward for a great future.
And it's telling us down there that time's up. Okay, thanks again, everybody. Lunch now, and then for those of you who are going on the city tour, I think the buses are picking you up at 3 o'clock.